Lincoln versus Stephen Douglas. The senatorial campaign in Illinois was the first major contest to focus on slavery. Both men met 7 times, each for 3 hours. Though Douglas won the Senate seat, Abe Lincoln laid out the clear moral argument for abolition. He became a national leader off that and won the presidency 2 years later. Flash forward to 1960. Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy, the first televised presidential debate. Prior to the broadcast, Vice President Nixon was heavily favored to win the White House. But during the event, the Republican appeared sweaty and irritated. JFK was calm and collected. He spent the previous 2 weeks tanning. Well, as we all know, Kennedy won the election by a hair, literally, 49.7% to 49.6%. 1980, Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. The two candidates had just one debate. The Gipper came off as friendly, competent, relatable. He coined 2 catchphrases that changed the race. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Reagan asked the American public. And then he said to Carter, there you go again. Ronald Reagan won the electoral vote 489 to just 49 for President Carter. 1992, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Texas businessman Ross Perot. Bush the elder was later mocked by Saturday Night Live for looking at his watch during the debate. The three-way tilted the race toward the Democrat. Though Clinton won the White House, Perot took 19% of the popular vote. And here's something else you might not know. Tonight's contest between Trump and Biden will likely be the most viewed debate in history. Why? To see if President Biden can get through it. Back after this. Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
News, analysis, opinion.
This is News Talk STL.
Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Both President Biden and his Republican rival Donald Trump hope to jolt a campaign that many voters are just beginning to watch. University of Michigan debate director Aaron Call says the two candidates have to avoid attacking each other like in their first debate 4 years ago.
I think the game plan for both candidates is to try to avoid those personal insults and attacks. They don't play as well when there's not an in-person audience and any feedback is just inside a media studio. And both candidates have their bases pretty well shored up, especially Donald Trump. So there's not a lot of need to throw red meat to the base of supporters, which are already pretty firmly on the side of both candidates.
Thursday's debate in Atlanta offers unparalleled opportunities for both candidates to try to shape the political narrative. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for Idaho hospitals to provide emergency abortions for now in a procedural ruling that leaves key questions unanswered.
The ruling could mean the issue ends up before the High Court again soon. It came after an opinion was briefly posted on the court's website accidentally and quickly taken down, but not before it was obtained by Bloomberg News. The Biden administration had argued doctors must be allowed to provide emergency abortions when a pregnant patient's health is at serious risk. But Idaho says its law does allow abortions to save the life of a pregnant woman, and federal law doesn't require wider exceptions.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. Oklahoma's top education official is ordering public schools to incorporate the Bible into lessons for grades 5 through 12. State Superintendent Ryan Walters issued a memo Thursday to school superintendents across the state. Walters said in the memo that his mandate is compulsory and immediate and strict compliance is expected. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
There are concerns.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personally, for Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, Friday, lots of cloud cover and a slim chance for an isolated shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, a low of 71 and a high of 89. Saturday, a little hotter, 91, much more humid, too. There is a good chance for some scattered storms in the early morning hours. We'll have to watch to see if a storm can redevelop in the afternoon, more likely south of St. Louis. Otherwise, that high 91 Saturday and humid. But it does turn more comfortable Sunday, mostly sunny, lower humidity, and a high of 85. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. With the average funeral bill being over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Call 314-866-8886 or memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, ephes, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show. National headlines and things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define.
Join me every Sunday at 10 p.m. right here on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Debate Night 2024. Welcome back to News Talk STL, the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. We are live and on location once again at the famous Johnny's Hideout in beautiful High Ridge. Chris Arps, it is Debate Night, and we are ready to roll.
I am pumped up, man. This feels like to me during my childhood when you used to have the big heavyweight fights. George Foreman, Ali, Frazier, and especially later when they used to put on a pay-per-view, and that there'd be all the hype and all the build-up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then the night finally came that the fight was going to happen. And that's how I feel with this. I'm excited about the debate tonight. I'm excited that we're at Johnny's Hideout. I'm excited that we're going to have a huge crowd here tonight to watch the debate. This is fantastic, man. I love it.
It really is. It is the All-Star game, the Super Bowl. It's the seventh game of the Stanley Cup. It's the last game of the World Series all on. Because, Chris, as you pointed out many times, and I agree, this could be it.
Yeah.
I would love to have another debate. The American people deserve another debate. All we're going to get is this incredibly, look, let's be honest. This thing tonight is so rigged. This is the height of election interference. But Donald Trump, he couldn't say no because this may be his one and only opportunity. The bounds that they're going to protect Joe Biden tonight, all of this, Chris, is geared for Joe Biden to have one soundbite so they can play that all day tomorrow and declare he won the debate.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be another debate that is scheduled for September, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that debate, especially if Joe Biden doesn't have a good performance tonight. This may be the one and only debate that we have. Tim, I tell you, there's three things that I'm looking for tonight in this debate. One, will Trump follow the rules as much as he can follow the rules? That's something I'll be looking at. Two, will Biden show stamina, give clear, concise answers? And how will he look, particularly in the last 30 to 45 minutes of this debate? Will he look tired? Will he start slurring his speech? I'll be looking at that. And will the moderators, will they be fair with their questions, especially when it comes to turning off the mics? That's going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out. So that's the three things that I'm going to be focused on mainly tonight.
I'll answer your last question first. They will absolutely not be fair. That's not what they're there for. The communications wing of the DNC is what CNN is. I think Donald Trump should make his own rules tonight. He should say what he needs. He has to say what he needs to say. And Chris, he's got plenty to say. All he needs to do is talk about how great things were during the 3 years of Donald Trump before the Fauci flu, before the COVID pandemic. And then he needs to compare that with what happened, what has happened in the 3 years hence. We have a very fragile, systemically broken economy. We have crime raging across our country. We have a broken southern border whereby every state has become a border state. Americans are literally suffering under Joe Biden's yoke, and we are no longer respected or feared on the international world stage.
You know, one of the questions, Tim, that I'm going to have for our 420 guest, Steve Bucci from the Heritage Foundation is, does he think that foreign policy is going to get a lot of attention here in this debate? And I'm going to ask Steve also if he was one of the moderators, one of the questioners of this debate, and from his background as a military and foreign policy expert, what would he ask these two candidates?
Absolutely.
Regarding their military and foreign affairs.
Absolutely. As Chris pointed out, we have a jam-packed show for you. Let me give you all the housekeeping and all the details. We are broadcasting live. As you can probably tell, we've got folks coming in already. We've got some famous notables that have already rolled into the door. We do have the famous Johnny Dowse here. He's going to talk to us in just a second. There is a Johnny of Johnny's Hideout. He's sitting right here. If you're watching us, if you're streaming us on Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ScrewTube, or anything else, you can watch Johnny, Chris, and I, and Joey. We are all here. We're inside. We're in the cool confines of Johnny's Hideout. We're going to broadcast 4 to 6 live. Then Chris and I are going to take a little break. We're going to get some of those famous Johnny Dowse chicken wings and those cracked fries. And then around 7 o'clock, we'll open up the doors for everybody. We'll have the food going. 7:30, we got a little main stage here. And many of our hosts and producers are going to be here to talk to you all. Chris and I will wrap things up right before 8 o'clock. And then Johnny's going to crank up all the televisions, and we are going to watch this showdown live. Got a lot of folks here. Representative Adam Schwadron has wandered in. He's running for Secretary of State this year. We got some other candidates here as well. We have Eric Swanson. We have Eric Swanson from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, another one of our fine advertisers. And I saw
Joe Maddock is running for state rep out in Jefferson County.
Joe Maddock is here as well. And Larry Connors. The living, he hates when I say this, the living legend, Larry Connors is here. And you know where he is? He's already bellied up to the bar. Yeah, he's already bellied up to the bar.
He's getting a Diet Coke, I think.
Probably, with maybe some adult soda in there as well. So we've got Johnny Dowse here in just a second. Rick Pogue is going to join Johnny and us at 5:05. As Chris mentioned, we're going to talk about foreign affairs, international relations, the southern border at 4:25 with Steve Bucci. and whether or not it should impact tonight's debate. But will the CNN moderator steer clear? Because that is fraught with landmines for Joe Biden. Chris's corner at 4:45. Speaker's stump speech will incorporate Rick and Johnny at 5:07. The St. Louis Young Republicans will feature Frank Catanzaro joining us at 5:25. Chris, how about we bring Johnny into the conversation?
Bring
here?
Johnny in. First of all, Johnny, I want to say that I was hungry. I hadn't eaten anything before I came in, so I was starving. So I got the burger and the crack fries, and man, I'm telling you, that was one of the best. You can always get a pretty good burger at a bar and grill. You kind of expect that, but you take it to a whole nother level. Seasoned, I didn't have to put any salt on it. My wife will tell you, I season my food to death because it's never seasoned enough for me. It was absolutely perfect.
Well, thank you. We sell a lot of burgers here. There's no
they're very
doubt
good
about it. And the crack fries are addicting like crack. That's why we call them crack fries. But a lot of people say they're not good for their waistline. But I said you can always have a cheat day. So
there you go.
Exactly.
We pride ourselves on our food here. I mean, it's unfortunately, when I talked about some of the things that my great bartenders and servers do is everybody serves the same Budweiser. Everybody serves the same Jim Beam. Everybody serves the same Stoli vodka. But, it takes other things to get people coming in. And, my girls have great personalities and they make sure everybody's taken care of. But we have to keep them coming back with good food. And that's what we do here. And we're constantly moving and shaking. We added a char grill inside.
Yes.
So our burgers are charred and our steaks are charred, now char grilled. And just Tuesday, Jake went down to Union, Missouri, and our friends at Kenrick Meat Company turned us on to the people that make their barbecue grills.
Okay.
So I called them up and they made me a nice barbecue grill that I can grill outside. Now I'm not a smoker. I never liked that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not that I didn't like it. I didn't personally like smoking meat. I like Sugar Fire and other places, Super Smokers. They have great food. But I'm a barbecuer, and that's how when I was 18 years old.
You're a grill master.
Right.
Yeah.
When I was 18, we had a barbecue restaurant, and it was a grill, an inside brick grill with hickory wood and the whole works. So I got a nice grill out there, and we broke it in last night on our bike night. I did these 1.5 pound turkey legs.
Holy smokes. I saw the pictures of those.
Right.
Johnny, you will be celebrating, I can't believe it, you'll be celebrating your 2-year anniversary this fall. It's just right around the corner.
Right.
And every time I'm here, I make new friends. I see new people. I see VIPs. I see everyday Joe and Janes. This is a great place where everybody gets treated well and you have fantastic food. Is Johnny's Hideout becoming the place that you envisioned, that you wanted it to be?
Yeah, and it's funny because even when I was down in Soulard and some other places, Johnny's, we were down in Soulard for 35 years total, but Johnny's was there 23. And when we were selling and we were having like our last 2 weeks of last hurrah, I had people come in and said they'd never been there.
Holy smokes.
They said, well, we didn't really get down to Soulard much. And when we did, we went to McGurk's or we did it. So even though it's coming up on 2 years, there's still a lot of people out there that don't know about us, don't know where we're at. We're trying to still get the word out when I'm out, which isn't much because I'm here all the time. But when I'm out, I try to hand out cards and like, where is this? And, and you explain. And then a couple of weeks later, you see the people like, well, this is great. I didn't even know you were out here. But they'll find out. Like I said, word of mouth is your best advertisement. And it's, when you do have good things, good service, good food, cold beer, people will find you. And the music venue is with the Sunset Stage last night. The way the weather was, it was almost like people were taking a picture of a fake sunset out there behind the stage.
Wow.
And that's why we called the Sunset Stage. And our MC PJ told everybody, hey, if you ever want to get a great picture of a sunset, now's the time, which we did. And it turned out really good. And the weather cooperated last night. So everybody was outside having fun, listening to the band. And I sold out of my turkey legs.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Johnny, I have a couple of high school friends that come here on bike night. I see the pictures. It's crowded. Every time we come here, it's crowded as well. Give us an idea of the food that you go through in a week. How much beer? How many burgers? How many wings? What would you say?
Well, we do and just on one particular night when we do our BOGO burgers and brews is on Tuesday night. We do a 2-for-1 special on everything. So you get if you're coming with a friend, or you come with your spouse or girlfriend, you order 2 burgers, you get 1 free. You order 2 Budweisers, you get 1 free.
Okay.
So it's called our BOGO
Okay.
burgers and brews night. And on that night in particular, we'll probably go through about 140 to 150 burgers just on that night.
Holy smokes!
And they're big 8-ounce burgers. We're not skimping.
Don't give any secrets away, of course. But how do you make money doing it?
You hope on the rest of the nights that people want to come in besides just that night alone, because we do specials almost every single night. On Monday night we do a $3 you call it for drinks, and Tuesday we do that, and then Wednesday we have our bike night. Thursdays is our steak night where you get a really nice steak dinner for under $25. Friday and Saturdays are our music nights, and then Sundays we do a Southern fried chicken plate here that's knock your socks off. And with this new grill, I'm going to start probably doing my pork steaks or ribs or something on Saturday too for specials. And of course Wednesday night I'll switch it up, keep the turkey legs on, maybe add some brats for when people want to on grab and go on the bike night.
Johnny, I'm looking at the specials here on the website, jhideout.com. Folks, we're at Johnny's Hideout, broadcasting live in beautiful High Ridge. Johnny, this is of course this is a bar and grill, but I consider this an upscale bar and grill. The ambiance is fantastic. The ladies and the servers, the wait staff, the bus boys, everybody's so friendly and so welcoming and warm. The TVs are everywhere. I love the high tops and these specials you've got. I mean, fried chicken Sundays. You've got the listen to this. On Monday nights, 16-ounce White Castle stuffed bone-in pork chop. Wow. And then tonight, steak night. You got the chef's choice cut with green beans, loaded mashed potatoes. I mean, you got the bar menu, but it's more than that, right?
Correct.
Much more than that.
And a lot of people don't even know about our shrimp dishes. We have great shrimp dishes here, and
a lot of Cajun stuff.
Yes, and that's there's being in Soulard. I learned from some very good people, and I investigated on my own about. I have my gumbo and my red beans here, and we'll do I kind of watch the national days. Like Tuesday was National Catfish Day, if you didn't know. So I did a Creole Cajun catfish poor boy.
Oh baby!
On Tuesday, which was fantastic. And so we try to keep an eye on, do some different things here besides that. And like you said, that steak we're having tonight's an 8-ounce king cut sirloin with my grandma's green beans and our loaded mashed potatoes.
Delicious.
Johnny, we're having a debate here tonight. As a business owner and as an American, what are you expecting to hear from these candidates tonight?
Well, probably from the wrong one, we'll hear about a bunch of lies,
right?
And from his whole party, and from the thing about our candidate Trump is he's not a politician. He's a business guy that saw things that were wrong. He saw a lot of things that were wrong, and that I'm sure early in his career, when he was trying to build, people would say, "Why don't you run for president?" He probably laughed it off, but after a while, when you're in business, no matter if you're at his, stature or ours, you kind of get sick and tired of everything. And my partner Rick, and Jake, my partners Rick and Jake, they kind of hit it on the head the other night when we were having another event here. That for years you think, well, I can't change anything, right? But you can.
If you get involved,
really can, right?
Yeah.
And you have to get involved, and you have to get involved with the right candidate. And if you pick a person and it's not right, then go with the other guy. I mean, you don't know until you get involved. And I think that's one of the things you really have to do is get involved. And I'm sure Trump maybe ran at one point not thinking he was ever going to win, but after a while, people get sick and tired. When Ross Perot was running, it was like he was independent, but he was a businessman, and people that were in business were like, hey, this probably isn't a bad idea. Trump had no agenda. He had his own money. He didn't need any, he wasn't getting bought off by anybody, so I really do think, that the reason, and people get jealous of that, there's a lot of envelopes handed out under the table that he didn't need, and that he knew other people didn't need. And he corrected a lot of that, and people didn't like it.
Hey, Johnny, I think I want to hit on something that I want to highlight something that you just hit on. And I think that's why a lot of small business owners like you and Rick and Jake and so many others, what they like about Trump is, look, sometimes when you come into a situation, whether it's a bar and grill or a bank or an automotive store, whatever, if things are completely and utterly effed up, if they're just totally screwed up, sometimes you got to break things, right, to rebuild them again. And I think people think the country's broken, don't they?
Right,
and I think that's what the attraction to Trump is. He's going to cut. He owes no one anything. He's coming here because he likes America, and he really wants to try to break things and rebuild them better.
And I do think people just thought that was a slogan, "Make America Great Again," and it wasn't. It was something he really and still does believe in, and I think he really still wants to do it. And he's coming off the ropes every day. I mean, he comes off the ropes every day swinging because they don't allow him to do anything else. They're, of course they did all that BS with the trial, so he couldn't go out and campaign. That was all that was. They didn't want him out there. But he still gets out there, and and some people might say, well, he shouldn't be on social media as much as it. Well, that's the age we live in now. Right. This country's upside down. I think he can turn it right side up.
And he showed that he did that in the first term.
Absolutely. Right. That's Johnny Douse. We are at Johnny's Hideout, jhideout.com, Johnny's Hideout STL on Facebook. Johnny, I think you're going to come back with partner Rick Pogue around 5:05. Okay. We'll let you get back to the bar and the grill. Until then, thanks for having us. We love being here. We love the support we get from you guys, and we love trying to drive people to Johnny's Hideout.
Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny.
Right. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you very much. That's Johnny. We'll be back with us 5:05. Chris, I believe we've got our good man Steve Bucci coming up next.
Steve Bucci is next, and Steve Arps has entered the house. Hide the women and children.
I wonder if you heard that. Very good indeed. All right, Chris and I will be back right after this with Steve Bucci. He is, of course, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation, focuses on cybersecurity, international relations, military special ops, and more. He is our man, always on a mission. He'll join us next to talk about what should they discuss national security and international relations-wise at this debate. What do we need to hear from the candidates? Back with that and more. The Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show at Johnny's Hideout, 1019, 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps. For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personal report, Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Friday, lots of cloud cover and a slim chance for an isolated shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, a low of 71 and a high of 89. Saturday, a little hotter, 91, much more humid, too. There is a good chance for some scattered storms in the early morning hours. We'll have to watch to see if a storm can redevelop in the afternoon, more likely south of St. Louis. Otherwise, that high 91 Saturday and humid. But it does turn more comfortable Sunday, mostly sunny, lower humidity, and a high of 85. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Well, folks, we've been talking a lot about small businesses, and we're going to continue talking about that. Small businesses drive our small business of News Talk STL. And I'm going to tell you about locally, independently owned Eureka Contracting and Roofing, another fantastic local small business right here in our region, veteran-owned by Rick Hinkson and the gang, in business since 2012, fully licensed, insured, and bonded. I have been a personal client. I'm pretty much, client of my advertisers, of course, but pretty much the entire station. I try to patronize everybody that advertises on News Talk STL, and Eureka Contracting and Roofing is, of course, absolutely no exception. Use them many times for our Jones home. We've had them out there to replace roofing, siding, gutters. We've done the whole tamale because we had that massive freaking hailstorm that rolled through about a year and a half ago or so. I was not worried though. I wasn't happy, but I was not worried because Rick Hinkson came up immediately the very next day, planted a big sign in the yard so the storm chasers would leave us alone, and they did. And then Rick and the gang came back. They inspected everything. We analyzed everything. They did all the heavy lifting. They worked with the insurance company. I didn't have to deal with them, not much, hardly at all. And I'm busy. You're all very busy. And Rick takes that load off of your mind. That's the peace of mind aspect you get with Eureka Contracting is second to none. And they're right here in my beautiful hometown of Eureka. They're not going anywhere. And that's why you can always get a hold of them. That's why they're always so accessible. They handled the entire job from the very beginning till long after it's done. If there's ever any problems that develop later, I just give Rick a call. You can too. I've got a great relationship with him. you will develop that same personal relationship. Rick does so much for the veterans in our region and so many other charities and more. At Eureka Contracting and Roofing, they understand that replacing roofs and siding and gutters is a really big deal, and they take care of you from the beginning to the end. They have experience in the insurance industry. They're former claims adjusters. They've got 30 years of experience in the construction industry and so much more. What about you commercial industrial building owners? They've got the Carlisle Silicon roofing system and more. That Silicon roofing system, 20-year leak-free warranty, hardly any business interruption at all, transferable warranty, and so much more. Yep, one-stop shop for all your contracting needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing, 636-938-ROOF, 636-938-ROOF, eurekacontracting.com, eurekacontracting.com.
Hey, Columbo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means things like family gatherings, barbecues, and graduation parties, and Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your friends and family, so they're kicking off summer with an amazing offer. Book a cleaning in June and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Hit the links in style this season with News Talk STL's brand new golf polo and hat collection. Available exclusively at Sugar Creek Golf Course, located off Highway 30 in High Ridge. Our lightweight, moisture-wicking polos feature the News Talk STL logo, keeping you looking sharp and feeling comfortable all 18 holes. And don't forget the matching News Talk STL hats to keep the sun out of your eyes while you line up that winning putt. Get your News Talk STL gear today at Sugar Creek Golf Course off Highway 30 in High Ridge.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Concerns are growing in the Middle East of a widening war, with Iran-backed Hezbollah threatening to retaliate against Cyprus now if it helps Israel attack Lebanon. The Hezbollah leader saying Cyprus would be, quote, part of the war if it allowed Israel to use its airports and bases. Ports in Cyprus are being used to deliver aid to Gaza, but the U.S. ambassador to Cyprus is declining to say whether the country is also being used as a transit stop to send U.S. weapons to Israel.
429, and welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. We are live at Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge, and of course, we will be having our presidential debate party tonight. So we look forward to seeing you tonight, and come on out, and we will see what if the 2 candidates are up to all of the hype. Our next guest is Steve Bucci, and he's a fellow of the Heritage Foundation. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a lot of foreign policy and military questions at the debate. We'll ask him next.
Steve Bucci, visiting fellow for Special Ops at the Heritage Foundation.
Oh, yes. What were you about to ask me?
Do you expect me to talk?
And usually at this time, we do have Steve Bucci, and we will work on getting him on the line. He's there.
Yep, I'm here.
Steve, how are you, Steve?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We've got a little technical things going on. We are broadcasting live tonight at Johnny's Hideout for a big debate party. So we're glad to have you on the line with us. Steve, I want to ask you, as a military and foreign affairs expert, if you were one of the moderators at the debate tonight, what question or questions would you ask?
Well, Boy, I have a bunch of them. I'd like them to answer how whoever takes office on January 20th is going to fix the broken problem at the border. And I'm sure that President Biden would say, "What problem at the border? The border's fine." To which I would say, "No, sir, it's not. It's a disaster. There's millions of people have come in with little or no vetting. Some of them have, court hearings that are out 10 years in the future, and there's several thousand at least, if not tens of thousands, who have gotten away, and we don't know who they are, where they came from, what their purpose in coming here is. But you got to know that if they're willing to go the extra effort to get away from the guys that are going to help them assimilate once they get here, the Border Patrol or police, local authorities, they got to have something bad in mind. I mean, you've got to be suspect. So obviously I'm tipping my hand as to who I would prefer here. But I think President Trump would have an answer. I'm not so sure President Biden would be able to address it other than to say, "Come on, man, there's no problem here," which is just baloney.
Steve, to follow up on that, and as to one of your first points where you said that Joe Biden would just say, "Well, the border is secure," Steve, that's exactly along the lines as to one of the emails that the Trump campaign has churned out today. The Trump Rapid Response Team has put out a series of topical emails regarding various different subjects that could come up tonight. And they put out a series of what they call Biden lies about the border. And I want to just read these briefly to you and tell me whether you would agree that these are misrepresentations, if we're being pleasant, that the Biden administration has been saying. They've been saying things, Steve, like the border is secure. They said that for almost 3 years before they started saying recently, well, maybe not so much. The only reason the border is not secure is because of Republicans and Donald Trump. That's number two. Number three, well, a border crisis just so happens every single year. The fourth one, we are working sure in the Biden administration that the border is safe, orderly, and humane. And last but not least, Joe Biden has said many times, "I've done all I can do to secure the border." Steve, does Donald Trump need to take those things on tonight and prove once and for all that nothing that the Biden administration has said about the border has been anywhere near the truth?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because sadly, there's about half the country who has actually swallowed all those whoppers whole, and will sit there and look you in the eye and say, no, that's all true, and it's not. I mean, I worked on the border for 2 years as a Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense, with 3,000 one year and 6,000 the next. National Guard volunteers down there to try and help the Customs and Border Protection people do their job. This was in 2006 to 2008, when it wasn't anywhere near the magnitude of the problem now. And I got to tell you, there's no vetting worth the name going on of any of these people. This idea that anybody can just show up and say, "Why do you want asylum?" Well, why? Well, because things are terrible in my country. Okay, here's your chit. Come back in 10 years. And if anybody out there who thinks that's hyperbole, it's not. There are people who have been released into this country who have a court date literally 10 years from now to come back and do their asylum hearing. Does anybody really think any of those people are going to come back for a hearing when they might be thrown out? It's crazy. And then I'm not even touching on the crime, the public health issues, because none of these people have any sort of public health standing now. Remember that they were doing this stuff when the rest of us were getting locked down, and they were just coming in anytime they wanted. It's ridiculous lies that the Biden administration tells repeatedly. Secretary Mayorkas going to, before Congress and just saying, no, it's all secure. And how can that man sleep with himself at night? I can't understand it. But I don't
Speaking
really
with
have
Steve-
an opinion on any of this stuff, though.
'Cause we know your policy, not politics, of course. We're speaking with Steve Bucci, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, new intelligence indicates that a large-scale confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah is likely to break out in the next several weeks if Jerusalem and Hamas do not reach a peace deal. Do you see that happening anytime soon? And can Israel fight a two-front war right now?
I'll answer the second question first. I think they can. It would be very difficult. It would be a lot more difficult if Joe Biden doesn't support him. And, he's been pretty wishy-washy about it. Though on one hand, he says, oh, no, we're giving them everything they need. That's really not true, what Netanyahu's saying. But then he makes announcements that he's delaying arms shipments to him. So I'm not sure, which one of those leaders is confused, but one is leading his country in a war right now that seems to be pretty effective, though it's taken longer than anybody would like it to take, even, especially the Israelis. And the other one, gets lost on a stage when he's the only person around. I think Israel can do it. I wish they didn't have to. But, right now they've evacuated the northern crescent of their country that borders with Lebanon to protect them from the near constant attacks that Hezbollah has been making since the war with Hamas began after the October 7th of last year's attacks. And, Israel's only going to take so much. They want Hezbollah moved back from that border so that their people on their side of the border can live in peace. And Hezbollah is not shown any inclination to do that. And it tells me that Hezbollah is voluntarily putting itself in exactly the same category as their less organized buddies down in Hamas, and probably require the same type of solution. You cannot negotiate with them. You're going to have to kill them.
Folks, we're speaking with Steve Bucci, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation, expert on military special ops and beyond. He can be found at S. Bucci on Twitter X. Steve, the debate tonight should discuss issues that we've been just discussing here, issues of national security, the border, international relations, although it is CNN and all of these issues are absolute landmines for the Biden administration because they failed in all these regards. But Steve, and in addition to the things that we've discussed, if you want to extrapolate on some of them, that's fine. What 2 or 3 things does CNN, if they're going to be an honest broker tonight, need to bring up and ask the candidates?
One would be domestic crime. I mean, that's not my, strong suit. I'm a foreign affairs guy, but I'm also a citizen, and I do security at my church and the school associated with it. I manage that. So I'm very concerned for domestic crime right now. Now, domestic crime is related to the border because, I'm the first to admit most of the people coming across the border are not coming here to do criminal activity, but there's a significant number, what's the term of art? A non-trivial number of people coming across that border who are here to do criminal activity, or when they get here, they just decide, you know what? They're obviously not arresting anybody for this stuff. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to attack minors and rape them in city parks. I'm going to murder co-eds as they jog around the campus of their college. And then you look at some of the cities where there's gangs coming in illegally and doing these smash and grab things and then flying back out of the country with their loot. How does that happen if the border is controlled? And how does that happen if the police are allowed to enforce our laws? When you have, city DAs or attorneys general of states who are just wholesale. If people get arrested doing violent crime, they just release them because they don't think it's that significant, or they think there's other social issues involved other than the person committing the violent criminal activity. I'm sorry, that has to stop. And that sits in the lap of the President of the United States, folks, because he's the one who set the tone, and all of these officials at the state and local level are just going along with what the president is buying into. And they need to do something about it. He's the commander in chief, not just of our forces when they're overseas. He's the commander in chief of all of our law enforcement and intelligence personnel in this country as well. He needs to start acting like it.
Speaking of the border, Steve, recently 8 men from Tajikistan were arrested. We later learned that they had been apprehended before. Give us a quick primer on Tajikistan. That's not a lot of place people are booking vacations, right?
Now, Tajikistan is one of the places we lovingly in the military refer to as the yucky stands. Was part of the Soviet Union before, a very destitute and downtrodden part. Primarily Muslim folks live there, and they're a free country now, but they have a very large percentage of folks who are heavily radicalized. Almost all of these transnational terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and others have Tajik volunteers fighting with them. These are folks with a lot of time behind a gun. They have fought the Soviets. They then fought the Russians. They fought in a lot of internal fights, and now they're taking their place among the foot soldiers of radical Islam. And having them come into this country as a group with connections to ISIS, or at least that their travel was facilitated by ISIS members, that's a bad sign, guys. Remember that, the last time we had a small group of bad guys come into this country, they did a lot of damage. We're a lot better at that stuff now than we were then. But I got to tell you, if they know of 8 and they've apprehended 8, I can bet there's at least 80, maybe 800 other people like them that have come in as well. That's a scary thought.
Steve, I hate that we have to end our interview on that depressing note there, but we look forward to speaking with you again next week as always and getting your thoughts on tonight's debate. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, guys. I hope you have a great night there, and remind everybody, listen to the debate and then vote. They got to do that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Bucci, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Chris's Corner, when we come back, we'll talk about maybe some of the good talking points that Biden will try to bring up at the debate tonight. We'll go through those and see if they are worth anything. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, driving the leftist crazy all afternoon. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personal report, Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Friday, lots of cloud cover and a slim chance for an isolated shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, a low of 71 and a high of 89. Saturday, a little hotter, 91, much more humid, too. There is a good chance for some scattered storms in the early morning hours. We'll have to watch to see if a storm can redevelop in the afternoon, more likely south of St. Louis. Otherwise, that high 91 Saturday and humid. But it does turn more comfortable Sunday, mostly sunny, lower humidity, and a high of 85. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic rights and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
I was at the Trump rally Saturday night. He won't give one dime to any school districts that have any kind of vaccine mandate. It would be great to have polio and measles all come back.
I don't believe you went to that rally. Obviously, I'm catching your snark, and you are not a Trump supporter. You're not even a listener to this radio station, so thanks for calling, Lester. I mean, that's not your real name either.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
So you want Steph's Pizza, but you're in Lake St. Louis and it's just too far to go. Not anymore. Now you can feed that Steph's Pizza craving quickly and conveniently in Lake St. Louis. Same great menu with a new location. 111 Pond Fort Trail in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peters on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com because tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Let's go to the debate side. Claire McCaskill, just your view about the lead up this debate and what we might see tonight.
All Joe Biden has to do is come out there and be Scrappy Joe Scranton and throw some haymakers. Tell him to shut up. He needs to tell him to quit lying. He needs to be a street fighter tonight. He doesn't need to be as presidential as he's inclined to try to be. In policy is great, but it's more important that he get under Donald Trump's skin. And the way you get under Donald Trump's skin is you confront him with his BS.
449 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, broadcasting live at Johnny's Hideout here in High Ridge. We're going to have our debate party tonight starting at 7 o'clock, and we will go all the way to the end. Chris's Corner we have up next. Quinn, Q, let's go ahead and do it.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
Okay, the latest New York Times Siena College poll conducted leading up to tonight's debate finds that 60% of registered voters thought Mr. Trump would perform very or somewhat well in the matchup tonight. Only 46% said the same about Mr. Biden. Nearly half of voters anticipated a poor showing for Mr. Biden. So as we all know, the bar is laid pretty low for Joe Biden. I honestly think that he's going to do pretty well tonight. He has been out of the public eye for the last 7 or 8 days. He's been up at Camp David. They've got him plenty rested. They have gone over all of his singers and all of that. I think we're going to see a repeat of what we saw at the State of the Union, where Joe Biden came out basically yelling at us, trying to show that he had a lot of energy. I think we're going to see that same thing again today. As we know, as Republicans, the record that Joe Biden has to run on is not very good. The White House yesterday released their talking points to the media that the president is going to hit on in the debate. There are 4 different things that they're going to hit on. One, of course, is immigration, LGBTQ rights, housing, and prescription drug prices. The president is going to talk about that there has been a 40% drop in illegal crossings from Mexico ever since Joe Biden signed his new executive order. I'm pretty sure that they won't go further to say that the reason why these illegal crossings have dropped because the Biden administration has basically adopted Donald Trump's plans that he had, executive orders that he had in place. So I think that's part of the reason, of course, in the drop in cases. And I don't trust this government's accounting numbers at all. I think they're probably not even counting the majority of these people. One thing the president is going to point to, of course, June being LGBTQ Pride Month, he's going to announce, or he's going to talk about the pardons that he issued yesterday for approximately 100,000 soldiers over the last 50 years who were shunned out of the armed forces because they engaged in gay sex. Sorry, that's 20,000 pardons. He will talk about that, trying to curry favor with that community, of course. One thing that they have really been stressing lately is housing. Kamala Harris announced yesterday an $85 million in federal grants to help state and local governments create or maintain more affordable housing. That is an issue that the younger generation has been talking about, how they can't afford to buy a house right now with interest rates the way that they are because of their student loans. That is one thing that they are upset about, and the administration is going to try to address that at these debates. And finally, prescription drug prices. We've heard that over and over and over. This has been a mantra the Democrats have used over the last few cycles. They have gotten past $35 a month insulin for senior citizens. They want to, of course, Democrats want to expand that program to basically make anyone that is diabetic be eligible for $35 insulin. The president announced, the administration announced yesterday that 64 more drugs were reduced in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. So, the president is going to try to run on all of these positives, of course. But as we know, gas prices are up, inflation is up. People are worried about the border. People are worried about what's going on in the Middle East. People don't feel secure about their future. And as we talk about it all the time, James Carville said in 1992, it's the economy, stupid. And there have been several presidential elections since that cycle, and that has not changed. And at this stage of the game, with only a few months before the election, we're not going to be able to turn the economy around. So we see the Biden administration offering gimmicks to people, basically trying to buy their votes. We will see if that will work. We will see if it sells to the American people tonight. And that is Chris's Corner.
Chris, back to where you started, that New York Times Siena poll also gave us the broad snapshot. And look, national election polls don't matter. Only the battleground states do. But Trump's leading in all the battlegrounds nationally. The point I want to make is the lawfare turned out to be a loser, as we predicted. The polls narrowed during the New York Trump trial, right? To the point where Joe Biden actually was up 1 point about a month ago, around the time the conviction was handed down. All of that has been lost. That's been baked in the cake. People have realized that was the weaponization of our judicial system, and that now every American is subject to attack by Joe Biden's DOJ, whether they did anything wrong or not. And the proof is in the pudding. Not even the New York Times can save Joe Biden at this point. Trump 48, Biden 44. You factor in RFK Jr., and the spread gets even wider, and Donald Trump's leading in all the battleground polls. So the lawfare was a loser. The only thing they got beyond that, Chris, is this mythical saving democracy thing. And on that, Trump is actually beating Joe Biden on the person that would better save our democracy. So what do they have left? Let's kill all the babies. That's what they'll go back to November.
Yeah, and it was amazing, the poll that we talked about last week that showed that 47% of Americans felt that the cases against Donald Trump were political. That's amazing.
Amazing.
When I saw that, and it's amazing.
That's a lot of independence in that.
Exactly. Almost half the American people think that these cases against Donald Trump are political. The Biden administration, the Democrats really thought that that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, that Donald Trump is a criminal, and that he can't be back in the White House. They thought that was going to be a good tactic, and it's not working. And probably one of the things for the bingo card tonight is how many times will Joe Biden call President Trump a criminal?
As many times as he can. Probably the beginning of every sentence. And by the way, Chris, we have a special edition News Talk STL Debate Watch Party bingo card for everyone
that's
tonight.
right.
I saw them out here somewhere. Joey must have squirreled them away. There they are. They're right
there's
there.
plenty of them.
We'll have to go through those later in the program. So we have those available for you. Folks, we will be starting the big show around 7:30 tonight.
Exactly. And at 5:07, Tim, stump speech, what are you going to be talking about?
Yes, Joe Biden fumbling and bumbling. We're going to talk about all the lies that he has issued on the economy and crime, the economy and crime edition of Fumbling Bumbling Joe Biden.
And then Johnny Doss is going to be back with us with his partner, Rick Poe. We're going to talk more about the debate, more talk about small business, and talk about the great food here at Johnny's Hideout. And then at 5:24, we'll speak with St. Louis Young Republicans Frank Catanzaro and Jamie Murphy. These are the up-and-coming young guns of the Republican Party. And good to see Frank again after the wonderful event we had Tuesday night with the Heritage Foundation guys. So looking forward to talking to Frank Catanzaro, seeing Johnny Doss and Rick Poe. Come on out to Johnny's Hideout out in High Ridge. We're going to have a blast tonight. We're going to watch the debate party. We're going to have a few cocktails. We've got bingo cards. We've got everything here. So come on out.
Why would you go anywhere else?
Why would you go anywhere else? Can't wait to see everyone and meet everyone here at Johnny's Hideout. You are listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk, STL, Sorrels Free Radio.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly two choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. So enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapons Systems in Fenton. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. President Biden and former President Trump take the debate stage tonight in Atlanta at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has a preview.
In a rematch from 2020, the sitting president and his predecessor will square off for an hour and a half in a CNN TV studio, minus an audience. The debate comes earlier than usual and has the potential to impact a close race. Biden and Trump are virtually tied nationwide, with polls showing a Trump advantage in several key battleground states. The president is wrapping up a week's worth of debate prep at Camp David, while Trump was busy with campaign events last weekend before spending the past couple of days with advisors. Greg Clugston, Atlanta.
The Supreme Court is putting the Environmental Protection Agency's air pollution fighting good neighbor plan on hold while legal challenges continue. Correspondent Bob Agnew reports.
The rule is intended to restrict smokestack emissions from power plants and other industrial sources that burden downwind areas with smog-causing pollution. Among those challenging the rule, the energy-producing states of Ohio, Indiana, and West Virginia. The justices rejected arguments by the Biden administration and Democratic-controlled states that the plan was cutting air pollution and saving lives in 11 states. The regulation will remain on hold for now, pending a ruling from a federal appeals court. Bob Agnew reporting.
The court also cleared the way for Idaho hospitals to provide emergency abortions for now in a procedural ruling that leaves key questions unanswered. Thursday's ruling could mean the issue ends up before the conservative majority court again soon. The ruling came after an opinion was briefly posted on the court's website accidentally and quickly taken down. On Wall Street, the Dow by 36 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personal report, Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Friday, lots of cloud cover and a slim chance for an isolated shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, a low of 71 and a high of 89. Saturday, a little hotter, 91, much more humid, too. There is a good chance for some scattered storms in the early morning hours. We'll have to watch to see if a storm can redevelop in the afternoon, more likely south of St. Louis. Otherwise, that high 91 Saturday and humid. But it does turn more comfortable Sunday, mostly sunny, lower humidity, and a high of 85. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Hey everybody, this is Levi with Thrive. Thank you so much for making us the 8-time winners of Give STL Day. It was a super close run, and I'm convinced that all of you hopping on and giving towards life is what pulled us over the finish line. It's because of your support that we are able to give babies the loudest voice and wave the life banner high over our city yet again. What a privilege it is to live in St. Louis, where life-affirming folks stand up for what they believe in. You're also really setting us up well for our end of fiscal year coming up on June 30th. It's this time of the year that our team is envisioning and strategizing for what it will look like serving abortion-vulnerable moms and dads in St. Louis, and your giving will largely determine our next steps. Would you consider helping us finish this fiscal year strong and keeping our local missionaries on the front lines? Every dollar you give will be double matched up until midnight on June 30th, and we have 70% Missouri state tax credit set aside for you. Go to thrivealivestl.org. That's thrivealivestl.org.
What happens next?
I'm happy that they convicted him.
President Trump did nothing wrong.
Happens right here.
And I really don't think it's going to matter.
I don't know. I don't even know what to think.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
A
lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
This just in, Walgreens says they will close a significant amount of their more than 8,000 stores across the U.S., specifically underperforming stores. We're talking about stores in bad locations or stores that are susceptible to theft. The company said they are looking to reset their struggling business. They did not announce a specific number of stores. They just said a significant amount of the 8,600 stores they have across the U.S. A lot of these major drugstore chains have struggled in recent years because of declining profits from filling prescriptions.
And welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. We are on location live, large and in charge at Johnny's Hideout. Yes, the famous Johnny's Hideout here in beautiful High Ridge, Missouri. Come on out. As you can tell with all the racket in the back, we've got lots of folks that have already walked in the door. Frank Catanzaro just rolled out of bed and rolled in here, I can see. Got his Let's Go Brandon shirt on. Very nice, Frank. Young Republicans. He's going to talk to us about 5:45. Rick Pogue will be sauntering in here at any point in time. He's one of the owners of Johnny's Hideout, along with Jake Kestner and Johnny Douse. We are here. We got producer Joey V here. We got a lot of folks here. A lot of our advertisers are here. Eric Swanson from Newsteaders. Of course, the good folks at Johnny's and so much more. Chris, you can already feel there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of excitement in the air.
You can, and I got a couple of shout-outs I got to give out. Representative Ken Waller is in the house, and Renee Artman, St. Louis County Chair, is here as well for the big debate party tonight at Johnny's. You know, Tim, you brought us in with that clip regarding Walgreens.
Can you believe that?
I can, because, you know, Beck, and this is so relevant because we were riding in North St. Louis. I think it was a Walgreens. And I saw that they were shut down, and it surprised me. And I told my wife, I said, I bet you that the reason why that Walgreens is shut down is because of shrinkage, which is the term that they use in the business for stealing. But I said, I bet you shrinkage is what caused that place to shut down. And we see from that report, that's part of it. Now, with Walgreens, part of it also, too, was their former CEO who was let go a couple of years ago. They ended up buying this company called Boots Alliance, and they were trying to be a drugstore plus a pharmacy benefit management company as well, and that added a lot of stress to their bottom line and didn't do so well. So I think it's the combination of people stealing from the stores and a bad business decision is hurting Walgreens.
Yeah, and I bet Eric from Newsteaders would back us up on this. You know, in the best of times when things are booming, businesses can make a few mistakes and get by with them. Yeah. That's fine. But when you're in challenging economic times, you don't have a lot of margin for error. And I find it amazing that even NBC News, that was a clip from NBC News. Even NBC News proves the broken clock theory every once in a while, and basically admitting that things suck in Joe Biden's America. Now, they didn't say it as such, but they cited shoplifting and crime as one of the major issues. While the left and the Biden administration keeps running around saying, oh, no, crime's at all-time lows. Chris, we know for a fact that right here in the city of St. Louis, Mayor Tashara Jones is cooking the books on crime. Police are terrified to respond to certain calls. The St. Louis City Police Department is at its lowest it's been in decades because the police, they're just like the rest of us. They're smart like the rest of us. And if they've got mobility, they'll move out to the county or even beyond and work the same job and know that they're probably going to have a better chance of going home alive every night.
You know, and a prime example of liberals' good intentions that go awry, as they always do, you have on the West Coast and in San Francisco, where the Soros prosecutors would lower the standard of how much you had to steal in order to be prosecuted. So if you stole under like $150, $200, you weren't prosecuted. You basically got like a traffic ticket. And so what greater incentive can you give to people that if you steal up to this certain amount, we basically slap you on the wrist and do nothing about it? You have those type of thefts have increased dramatically. That's why when you go to Walgreens, you have to ask someone to open up a case to buy blades, to buy dishwashing detergent, the basic necessities, because people are stealing that stuff, not for their own consumption, but are taking it out and reselling it on the street because they've stolen it.
And Chris, wait till you hear what the Biden administration is doing as to illegal immigrant crime. I'll talk about that in the stump speech. And we'll have producer cue that up in just a second here.
Did you mention George Schaefer?
Dan Schaefer's here as well. Dan Schaefer, he's our token Democrat. He's in the House as well, and we appreciate that he's come out and he supported the He has supported the station twice this week.
Exactly.
And we're educating Dan as much as we can, and we appreciate his friendship, and he's willing to come out and support Johnny's Hideout and all of us here.
I think we're a guilty pleasure for Dan.
I think we just might be. All right, we're gonna speak to Rick Pogue and Johnny Dowse here in just a second, but while we wait for Rick to get here, how about we go ahead and do a little bit of the speaker's stump speech?
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
All right, this is the Bumblin' Fumblin' Joe Biden Lies edition of Crime and the Economy. First of all, Joe Biden and his surrogates keep saying, trust the FBI crime data. Well, Chris, as I told you, they've changed the way that they're counting crime these days in the Biden administration. When Joe Biden took office, the FBI literally changed how it collects crime data. Thousands of local jurisdictions, like the city of St. Louis, stopped reporting their crime stats. In fact, the FBI's Q1 2024 data is missing a third. That's 33 1/3%, folks, of the nation's law enforcement agencies, including Chicago, LA, San Francisco, Oakland, New Orleans, and St. Louis. The data is also missing an entirely new category of crime against U.S. citizens that we've seen, unfortunately, splashed all over the national corrupt corporate media over the last few weeks. That is crime at the hands of illegal aliens. Yeah, that's right. They're not counting in the FBI crime stats crimes committed by illegal aliens. Crime rates are down nationally. That's the second lie we hear coming out of the Biden administration. Well, I just proved to you that we're relying on highly incomplete data. There's actually been a 43% increase in violent crime, a 58% increase in rape, an 89% increase in aggravated assaults, a 56% increase in robberies. I'm sorry I'm making everybody depressed, but violent crime has not gone down in the last 3 years. It has actually gone up. Third lie, Joe Biden says public safety and crime reduction is a top priority. Really? This is the party that wants to defund the police. And look, I'm going to all hail to the same Democrats that there still remains, maybe like Dan Schaefer, in the Democratic Party, because a Democrat ousted a member of the squad. Jamal Bowman, yes, there was a lot of money spent in that race, but he lost by over 16 points because progressive policies are an absolute failure. They've called for defunding the police. They've called for ending cash bail. They've called for basically allowing the world to dump its prisons into the United States of America, stripping police of sovereign immunity, and so many other items as well. So that's the Biden bumbling, fumbling lies on the crime edition. How about the economy? Holy Toledo. I could go on for the rest of the show about this. Where do we even begin? How about I created 15 million jobs? You know, reopening the economy and having everybody go back to work after COVID, that's not creating any jobs. People just went back to the jobs they originally had. And Chris, as we've talked about many times this week, the labor participation rate in this country for able-bodied males specifically is way down to a historical low of around 60%. All of these job claims that Joe Biden claims to have created were actually jobs, 72% of them, by Trump, that people have just returned to following the pandemic. How about the fact that Joe Biden he's literally said this, and they've doubled and tripled down on this, that inflation was at 9% when he came into office. It was not. It was at 1.8. They've said gas prices were over $5. Nationally, they were around $2.10. Incomes are up. Incomes may be up, but Bidenflation is greatly outpacing that to the tune of 19% for inflation and about 14% for wages. That means you have, I can do simple math, and that's about it, 5% less money in your take-home pay. Now, American families, a standard family of four, is about $10,000 poorer every year under Joe Biden than it was under Donald Trump. These are just some of the lies that I hope President Trump is able to expose tonight in the debate. It's going to be a raucous caucus debate indeed, and that is today's Speaker Stump Speech.
And look who walked in the house. Rick Pogue.
Rick Pogue in the house. Rick Pogue. Rick Pogue to the microphone. Rick Pogue. We have got one of the fantastic owners, proprietors of Johnny's Hideout. We have Rick Pogue here. Rick, you can take whichever chair you feel most comfortable in. This is your place. We're just passing through. And Johnny Dowse will be back with us here as well.
Is this thing on?
Rick, you are live.
I heard there's a debate tonight.
There is. Rick, did you hear what I said all about the economy?
Oh, yeah.
And all that?
Yeah, I was listening on the way in.
As a business owner, as someone who is, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, built a multi-million-dollar roofing and supply company that you sold a couple of years ago. No, I'm not going to give your phone number out. Not going to give your phone number out. And now, after you fell on your head, you bought a restaurant. Okay. So Rick, you live. Chris and I talk about these issues, and we've both been small business owners, and we are small business owners. We have consulting companies, etc. Yeah. You live every single day in the belly of the beast of the American economy. Yeah. How are things under Joe Biden versus Donald Trump?
Well, my answers are always the same. Taxes are out of control. Red tape, legislation. They just want. What really frosts me is they're always finding new ways to extract more money out of the people who create jobs, and really everybody. Yeah. I mean, they're trying to destroy the middle class. Mm-hmm. But that's the hardest part. I mean, we're paying a huge tax bill right now. We have no problem paying taxes, but when you're taking that money and you're giving it to Ukraine and everybody else in the world, and there's no accountability there, what's the point? It's a spending problem. It's not a taxation problem. So that's my hot button is taxation and regulation. It's over the top. Johnny can speak. I mean, 40 years. Yeah, 40 years in the restaurant business. I'm sure he could speak to government intervention. You can't do this. You can't do that. Just get the hell out of the way. Obviously you need some regulation. Fine, right? But they can't help themselves.
I want to get both of your guys' thoughts on a story that we did a couple of days ago at the end of the show. And they're not directly competitors with you, but I found this interesting that Burger King, McDonald's, and Starbucks are starting a $5 menu. And we talked many times of if my wife and I go to McDonald's, it's going to be $25 if we get a meal. Your thoughts on these big chains bringing back $5 value meals?
How much food do you think that includes, Johnny? What do you get for $5 now in Biden's America?
A fry and a pickle.
Right. Right. That's the $7.
Oh, that's the $7.
Right. I mean,
well, it was funny before when I was on. I talked to you about all our specials. Mm-hmm. You can come here, like I said, on a Tuesday night and get a buy one get one burger, a buy one get one drink. And the $3 you call it on Monday night, whatever you. So we have to do specials to compete with that. Like when the Applebee's and everybody says, bring the family and you get $7, steak dinner, whatever. Now that steak you can nail on the bottom of your shoe, but it bites in because people, because of what's going on with the Biden administration, don't have enough money to go out half the time. So they got to go for that McDonald's quick, okay, I got 3 kids and here's 3 Happy Meals and there you go. But that's still, they're starting the $5 thing because when you do go to McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and everything right now, you're not leaving cheap anymore.
$25 for 2 people.
Yes.
And one of the places that I was waiting to come to St. Louis because I love you talk about our burgers, which are great, but I like that 5 Guys and Fries. Right. You might as well cash a bond when you go in for a burger and fries there. I'm like, what am I getting? Yeah. Whereas here you get I talked about we do the char grill now back there. Yep. You get an 8-ounce char grill burger built how you want. Yeah. Our specialty burgers and this and that, and a drink and our crack fries, which are great. Right. And it's not $5, but you're going to go away thinking you got a meal and you didn't have to go home and order a pizza.
Exactly.
I ate at 5 Guys the other day. It was almost $30.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey, Rick, do we need to get you an umbrella for that drink you got there? That's cute.
It's an old fashioned.
Oh, it is.
You should be proud of me.
Okay.
Johnny's. I do that.
A Johnny's fashion?
No, I do that juice myself.
I love it.
It's not as foo-foo as usual.
Okay.
So
that's my kind of drink.
Touche.
I thought it was a typical Rick Pogue drink. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the blue Curaçao and the passion fruit. No, that's actually an old fashioned with, I believe it's with Stolach whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
that's
yeah.
fantastic.
I mean,
Stolock whiskey, great whiskey company.
I don't like alcohol. I just like the way it makes me feel.
There you go.
Especially in this economy.
Larry Connors is coming over to help you out. All right.
Oh, great.
Hey, Rick. Despite all the bad news we just talked about, and there's plenty of it out there. You know, the American small business owners refuse to let a guy like Joe Biden stop you all in your tracks. So you've carried on through the last 3 years. You're not quitters. You're not giving up. I say that the American economy has bounced back and the stock market continues to climb in spite of Joe Biden, not because. And I asked this to Johnny earlier. You guys are about to celebrate your 2-year anniversary here.
Yeah.
Is Johnny's? You're a vision guy. You actually have a company called Vision Marketing. Is Johnny's becoming the vision that you wanted? I know you're going to do a lot more, but my goodness, you've done so much here in a short period of time. It looks great.
It is. I mean, the vision is always changing. It's always growing because you always want to be better. But no, it is. Jake and I and Johnny as well. We're very proud of what we built here, and we're not looking to slow down at all. We've added the Boulevard stage out front, which is a 1948 Ford truck, and
awesome.
the truck bed is a stage. So everything we do here, I mean, we could be like every other sports bar in St. Louis. That's not who we are. We want to be a destination. So yes, our vision is coming together, and it's coming together just the way we want it to do. We could not be more proud of our team here. We got the best group of people ever here.
And you have a full-size windmill.
We do. We do. And I got laughed at when I wanted to get it.
Rick, philosophical question for you here.
Yeah.
Because you've been very successful in business. I want to ask you, are entrepreneurs born or made?
Entrepreneurs, I can't say anybody made me. I really can't. I mean, same time
you made yourself.
I had 3 major mentors in my life. My father, Jerry Pogue. He's 70. He was in the roofing business for 56 years. Obviously, my main mentor. Another guy named Steve Schulte, who actually started Arrowhead. Guy built $2 million businesses with an 8th grade education. And then, of course, Jeff Hansen.
Right.
Jeff Hansen was he was the latest influence on my life and had a huge impact on me. So I was already in that spirit of entrepreneurship. But when I met guys that actually did that, they inspired me. So
entrepreneurs born or made, Johnny?
Well, I didn't ever think I was going to get into this business. I was going to St. Louis University to be a lawyer.
Right.
And my dad decided he was a truck driver for 40 years and decided one day he was going to buy a liquor store and go into business. And he was very successful. And then education, he stressed, but he gave me an opportunity. There was a restaurant that was closing down and barbecue place, and he allowed me to do it. And I went full force into it. And, unfortunately, my mentor, my dad, we just buried on May 16th. But
great man.
He wasn't. I still talk to him every day. He just doesn't talk back.
Right.
He, as a 25-year-old, 23-year-old boy, everything, and your dad's trying. You're like, oh, and then you start learning, you start seeing what he did and how he, knew the streets. But what Rick just said, 8th grade education. The guy that started Tony's restaurant, that was 5-star, world renowned. He didn't have a high school. He didn't. He grade school education. I think it takes commitment, and it takes you have to be consistent.
Right.
Some people are consistently bad, but it's still consistent.
Right.
But we're trying to do, like I said earlier, I was down at Johnny's, not the other thing. 23 years, and I told them earlier when we were getting ready to sell, people came in and said they'd never been here. So even though it's going to be 2 years, there's a lot of people out there that have never been here yet that will come and they'll find out. And like I told you earlier, everybody sells the same alcohol. We're not going to serve any other Budweiser than everybody else. But our food and our ambiance and the way we treat people and the way we do things here, that's what's going to bring them in.
And you said the key thing that any successful venture, and Rick can say the same thing, consistency.
Right.
Sports,
Guys,
anything.
We're running a touch long here, but before we get out of this break, I do want to give a shout out to these young ladies running around hustling and bustling here. We affectionately refer to them as Johnny's girls. Johnny, Rick, you guys are blessed. I mean, these ladies here, I've gotten to know them really well over the last couple of years. They're really fantastic. In a world where younger people really don't want to work very hard, you've got some of the cream of the crop here. They really are part of the backbone of this place, aren't they?
Yeah, and I will say this. In the sorry, sounding my dad. In the old days, you didn't have everybody that decided to get out of their 401k or whatever and bought a business. You didn't have all these restaurants and bars and everything else. So a lot of the girls made tons of money every day. Every single day here's a challenge. Okay. So one day they might come in and say, oh, I didn't make that much money, but the good ones are going to wait and see till the next day and the next day. And just like we do with our P&L statements, maybe this week wasn't as good, but next week. So you got to kind of average it out. And a lot of these girls have really stuck with us through thick and thin, and they're still here. And that's
They work very, very hard, and they're also easy on the eyes.
Well, and the bartender, when I walked in, the young lady behind the bar, she said, Trump said he's not going to tax my tips. I'm voting for Trump. There you go.
I don't know where she heard that.
There you go. Yeah, I wonder. Rick Pogue, Johnny Dowse, thank you guys for everything. You guys were wonderful. Rick, thank you for investing in News Talk STL. And
Absolutely.
Johnny, for you guys for sticking with us as awesome advertisers, being such a gracious host. Thanks for letting us take the place over.
Hey, I've got a great Jake story for you if you want me to come on a little later.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to tell you where he is and what he's doing.
Little Jake Kessler
he's dying,
story later.
He's dying for you to know.
All right, we've got We've got 5:26 here. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back with the Young Guns. We're going to talk to Frank Catanzaro of the St. Louis Young Republicans when Chris and I return on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL, live at Johnny's High.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personal report, Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Friday, lots of cloud cover and a slim chance for an isolated shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, a low of 71 and a high of 89. Saturday, a little hotter, 91, much more humid, too. There is a good chance for some scattered storms in the early morning hours. We'll have to watch to see if a storm can redevelop in the afternoon, more likely south of St. Louis. Otherwise, that high 91 Saturday and humid. But it does turn more comfortable Sunday, mostly sunny, lower humidity, and a high of 85. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You are the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue. And after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions. And they even offer free estimates. So there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's stifel.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
And
If I took this shirt off, you'd see a beautiful, beautiful person. But you'd see wounds all over me. I've taken a lot of wounds, I can tell you. More than I suspect any president ever.
And welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. That's Donald Trump offering to strip for the crowd to show all the marks he's gotten from all the wounds he's taken, rhetorically, of course, over the last few years, courtesy of Joe Biden's lawfare. Yep, you can hear it's loud and proud here at Johnny's Hideout in beautiful High Ridge. Chris, this place is already packed, and the debate is still 2.5 hours away. I think we're going to be wall to wall by the time we get 8 p.m. People need to come here now to get a good seat.
They do, because the crowd is filling up. We got the politicians here. We've got the folks that are listening to the radio station, regular patrons of Johnny's. This is going to be a rocking place tonight. Come on out to Johnny's Hideout. Ridge.
Looks like the Donald himself has just arrived as well, or at least a cardboard cutout of him. That's fantastic. Yeah, you guys should come out here. Johnny's Hideout is not far from anywhere if you're in the St. Louis metro area. It's 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. They've got fantastic food, cold drinks, and wonderful people. We're going to be broadcasting the debate live. We're going to take the main stage here at 7:30, do a little pregame with all of the hosts and producers that show up from News Talk STL. A lot of our crowd is already here, including Chris and I and Joey and Larry Connors and many more. Joining us now, we've got one of our favorites, one of our consummate partners. It's a great relationship. We've got Frank Catanzaro here from the St. Louis Young Republicans. Hello, Frank.
Hey, guys.
Hello,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And one of our we love all of our advertisers, but we really love fine jewelry. And so we've got Eric Swanson here from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. How you doing, Eric? Thanks for being with us tonight.
Excellent. I love the chaos and the noise. It just shows the energy Team Trump has that the enemy doesn't.
This is like being on the set of a Super Bowl, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also want to say hi to Chris Cook from the Ann Wagner campaign. Thanks, Chris, for coming out. Chris. We've got so many famous pundits, politicos, politicians, and campaign folks here. Frank, is the energy, are the young folks of St. Louis and across, because Frank, you do a lot of national work as well with the National Young Republicans. Are the young people ready to take our freaking country back so you guys don't have to deal with $8 bazillion in debt?
Yeah, Tim, I can tell you we are energized. Young Republicans all across the country, especially here in Missouri and especially in the St. Louis area, we are ready for change. It's time for us to get our country back on track, and young people are ready to knock doors, ready to make phone calls. We are ready to get digital ads out there to get our message to get across the finish line come November.
Frank, talk about these polls we've been seeing that show President Trump 1 point or maybe 1 point ahead when it comes to the young people vote. We've been hearing for the last 3 years that Joe Biden and the Democrats for the young people, they're giving away student loans and all of these handouts. How do you explain that?
Well, I mean, it's out of the Democrats' playbook. They just give, and they tax. And I can tell you that young people are waking up. They're living it right now. They can't afford a mortgage to buy a house. You know, their wages are stagnant. We're seeing so much chaos right now all over the country, all over the world. And young people, you know, they're seeing this. They're living it. You know, the American dream, we were taught that if you work hard, you can achieve the American dream. The Democrats and Joe Biden are making the American dream unattainable. And our generation has had enough. Millennials, Gen Z, enough is enough. We've got to get a new administration there. We got to get President Trump back in office because we got to get our country back on track.
I remember at one time Gen X used to be mentioned in there with the young people. I was like, Frank, you're forgetting a generation. Keep going.
If it makes you guys feel any better, I'm a millennial, so we're actually not the young people anymore. We're the younger people.
All right.
Gen Z are the young guys now.
That is for sure. Eric here from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, you meet with and speak with a lot of young people probably every day in your career. You've got some nice rocks over there at Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. You can see them, folks, at wowdiamonds.com. Eric, are you starting to see, you know, it seems like we had some lost generations here, and Frank's an exception, and there are a lot of wonderful younger people. I include my daughters in that as well. Do you think young people are starting to realize that we're having an awakening in America? We need to realize, look, beautiful, nice things are wonderful, but we always have to be thinking about what's next. We always have to think of the great beyond. And I think people are maybe reattaching themselves to a more theological perspective, a spiritual perspective, no matter what religion you are, and realizing that today's Democratic Party is not your grandpa's Democratic Party. They're the death cult, and the Republican Party is the one where people are saying that it's okay to keep God into everything from prayer to our Constitution.
Absolutely. I think young people, we see this a lot in the store. We have a lot of people that just come in for prayer, and that's something that's unusual in a business, but it says God is welcome here right over our front door. We have people come in just because of that when they see that, because that tells you what we stand for. You know, you have morals and ethics, and that's very important. And that's something that I think was lost. It was intentionally destroyed by the Democrat Uniparty in the 60s and 70s. All of those revolutions were designed to destroy the nuclear family and take God out of school and family, because it's easier to control people that way. We're seeing a resurgence in faith and morals and ethics in young people. They seem more focused on that because they look around our country and they see that without that, it is being functionally destroyed.
Eric, the Trump tax cuts are scheduled to expire in 2025. Joe Biden and the Democrats have said that they are going to let those tax cuts expire, except for people that make under $400,000. Your taxes will not be raised, they say. As a small business owner, are you grabbing your wallet right now? How do you feel? How are you feeling with these
I
proposals?
don't believe anything that comes out of the Democratic Party and Joe Biden's mouth, because everything they come out and say is a lie. I mean, all you have to do is watch the press conferences and what comes out of her mouth, and none of it's true. So I'm clutching my wallet. If there's another 4 years of Joe, the country's gone. We can't survive that. I mean, just 3 years and look at where we are already.
Frank, we've talked to a lot of economic experts recently, and they've told us that for the first time since our country was founded and created, it's going to be really hard for the current generation of homeowners and small business owners to hand those things over to their children because of mortgage rates and just the unaffordability of Bidenflation. Are the folks in your generation concerned about those things? Do you focus on those things? Are those things that you guys are like, we got to change this?
Absolutely, Tim. And I can tell you personally, we all feel it. People in my generation, the generation after me, and even above me, we're living it. We are living and breathing this chaos right now in our economy. And the economy is going to be the leading issue that is going to push voters this fall to hopefully pull a Republican ballot. We've got to get back on track. Mortgage rates should not be this high. Inflation should not be this high. The cost of groceries shouldn't be this high. Everyone's feeling it, especially young people. And I believe that's how they're waking up and realizing, hey, it might have been cool to support a Democrat 10 years ago like Barack Obama. And, maybe they held their nose for Joe Biden, 3 years ago. But now they're saying, hey, there are consequences to the choices that we've made. There are consequences to the Democrat policies, and we need to try something new.
Frank, one of the things I said at the beginning of the show that I'm going to be looking at tonight's debate is, will President Trump behave? Will the moderators be fair? What are you looking at?
Well,
looking for tonight?
It's a CNN debate, Chris. So I don't know if they'll necessarily be fair.
That was a rhetorical.
They are the Commie News Network,
But no, I mean, President Trump needs to be President Trump, and I think we all have an expectation on President Trump's performance. It's gonna hopefully be great. I do want to see President Trump hit the marks on the key issues of the day, like the economy, like foreign policy. I want him to outline the failures of the Biden administration and the Democrats in power. We need to have that clear contrast, because this is going to be one of the most heavily watched debates in history tonight. There may or may not be another one in September. So this one is going to be so important. And, for President Biden, I mean, the question is, which version of Biden's going to show up? The one that was pumped up with amphetamines during the State of the Union? Or are we going to have
allegedly with that?
Or are we going to have Sleepy Joe? I mean, but the thing is, it's always easier on Biden, because he could come in and he could, just perform just slightly above dismal, and the media is going to praise him, yada, yada, yada. But President Trump knows what he needs to do. I'm sure that his team has properly prepared him, and I look forward to seeing him win this debate and win the hearts and minds of the American people tonight.
Eric, Chris asked a great question of Johnny Dowse and Rick Pogue when we had him back about entrepreneurship and small businesses. Eric, it's amazing. I think one of the commercials we run for you all talks about the fact that Newsteaders is now in its third or fourth generation, family-owned, small, local, very successful small local business because of some of the things you talked about. How important is it, you've been in this business now for several decades, and you compete with the biggest big boxes in the country. How important, though, is it that we continue to promote and to propagate small businesses and entrepreneurship in this country?
Small business is the backbone of America, always has been. That's the engine that fuels America's greatness. And right now, all of the big stores are being given all of the breaks, all of the advantages. The small guys are getting more regulations on them. If you want to pass the company down to one of your kids, they're going to tax you out of business. We've seen so many small businesses fail in the last 4 years just because of COVID and a lot of regulatory things that have gone into place. We can't allow that to continue, or this country will end up being a very small portion of very rich and a very large portion of very poor and no middle class. And that's the death of America.
We got to get a quick plug in for newsletters. What's hot down at the store? What are you selling out of right now?
Yeah, what's going on this time of year in the jewelry business?
You know what? It's a lot of anniversaries and weddings. People are still getting married, doing a lot of engagement business, and a lot of custom pieces. Just because people want to have something that's a one of a kind. I had a guy come in. He's military. He met his fiance in the military. He showed some pictures and he goes, "Can you do this?" And we made it for him.
Wow. Because you guys do that in store because
Yeah.
Richard's a master engraver.
Yeah, everything's all done in store, which is nice. You never have to worry about your piece being shipped to Chicago or New York to get work done.
It's so cool. That's so cool. Frank, what's next for the St. Louis Young Republicans? I mean, you guys have got, we got like 40 days or so to the primary election in August. I'm sure there's many of you working on different campaigns. But once August 6th is over, hopefully everybody circles the wagons and sings Kumbaya.
That's right.
And you're all going to be out working on campaigns. So if there's young people or there's parents listening right now that want to get the young people in their lives involved, you guys are taking all comers right now, right?
That's right. Yeah. If you're between the ages of 18 and 40, join the St. Louis Young Republicans. Visit us at St. Louis Young Republicans. We're on Facebook. We're on X. We're online on our website, stlyrs.com. Get engaged with us. We have events every month. We team up with great news networks like News Talk STL to do fun events like this. We host monthly happy hours, bring in monthly speakers, and then we actually hit the ground when it's campaign season and knock doors and get good conservatives elected to office. So get involved. That's St. Louis Young Republicans.
And I have to say, that's how I got first involved in politics. I joined the Young Republicans at the old age of like 32. I was old in the tooth for the Young Republicans.
I'm 33, so you were younger than me.
Yeah. They were calling me the old head at 32, 33. So, yeah, Young Republicans. Great place to get started in politics and learn a lot.
Hey, Frank, I think we should give a shout out to your boss. You like many of us, you wear a lot of hats, and your boss, your official side job is chief of staff for my state senator, Ben Brown. I'll tell you what, Ben's a young guy. He's literally a fighter. He came out of the MMA world.
That's right.
He was an MMA prize fighter. So don't mess with him.
Now he's the conservative fighter.
That's right. Tell us a little bit about what Senator Brown's been working on the last couple of years, and secondly, why he's been so successful.
Oh, that's right. So Senator Brown, was not a career politician. He was, like Tim said, an MMA fighter. Decided to run because he was fighting Sam Page and the mask mandates and shutdowns as a restaurant owner himself in St. Louis County back in 2020. He said, enough is enough. I'm going to run for office in 2022. Ran a grassroots campaign, was the underdog. Nobody thought he could win. He knocked nearly 40,000 doors back in 22 and won his primary. Now he's been serving Franklin County, the city of Eureka within St. Louis County, Tim's hometown. Warren, Osage, and Gasconade, and he has been fighting conservative bills down in Jeff City, such as he's filed the bill ranked choice voting ban. It'll be on the ballot this November. That was a bill that Senator Brown introduced his first year in office in 23. Finally got it across the finish line this year to ban ranked choice voting in the state of Missouri.
Huge proposal. Huge.
Yeah, huge proposal. It also actually included in that as well is that it has a provision that says you must be a U.S. citizen to vote.
Yay.
So we're getting two great things on this ballot initiative that all of your listeners need to be aware of and vote for come November. Working on some regulatory reform issues, anything to make our state more economically vibrant for small businesses and as well as preserving your individual liberties and rights.
Fantastic. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Oh, my goodness, we got to wrap things up. Thank you guys for joining us. Frank Catanzaro, St. Louis Young Republicans. Give that website one more time.
It's St. Louis Young Republicans, stlyrs.com.
And Eric Swanson, Newsletters. How can folks find out everything that is going on at Newsletters and all the beautiful stuff you've got?
Wild Diamonds, WOW, diamonds.com.
That's right, wilddiamonds.com. Eric, thanks so much for your
Thank
support
you.
of the station. Frank, we really appreciate the relationship. We're looking forward to having many more events with you down the line.
We do as well. Thanks, guys.
All right, very good. Chris, it's 5:45
No
in the
way.
PM. How does this happen? Folks, come on out after we sign off at 6:05. Larry Connors, USA, will be taking the airwaves. Chris is going to tell you a little bit about what Larry's got. Larry's going to be talking debate, and he's got some polling. Chris has got all the specifics on that. He's got a bunch of stuff in the stack of stuff. We're going to wrap things up here at Johnny's Hideout next, and the party's really going to get started.
How the hell is Larry going to get from here back to the studio at 6 and do his show?
I think it's the Joey. Do you know how Joey doesn't have a microphone, but I think it's the magic of radio, Joey. I think here comes producer. We got it, folks. Joey is really here. This is not AI today. Yeah.
How does that happen?
How does that happen, Joey? How does that happen?
What's up? How you doing, guys?
How does Larry do a
I'm
show and be
looking
here
at
at the
Larry
same
Connors
time?
right
It's just
now, but he's
magic of
gonna-
radio.
It's a man of many talents. Telepathy, my friends.
AI Larry Connors. All right, we're going to be back with one more jam-packed segment next on the Tim Jones and Chris Sharp Show, broadcasting live from the famous Johnny's Hideout. You can hear the party. Come on out and join us. 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
And he's talking with Dave.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personal report, Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Friday, lots of cloud cover and a slim chance for an isolated shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, a low of 71 and a high of 89. Saturday, a little hotter, 91, much more humid, too. There is a good chance for some scattered storms in the early morning hours. We'll have to watch to see if a storm can redevelop in the afternoon, more likely south of St. Louis. Otherwise, that high 91 Saturday and humid. But it does turn more comfortable Sunday, mostly sunny, lower humidity, and a high of 85. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Post-debate coverage all morning Friday morning, including with comedian Joe DeVito from the Greg Gutfeld Show at 10:25 on Friday.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
On a typical summer day, Moore Park in Alton is typically packed with people, but that may not be possible for the foreseeable future.
We have
experienced obviously a big sinkhole in the middle of our turf fields.
The collapse occurred in the middle of soccer field 3, where teams of kids would typically be sitting, but thankfully no one was hurt. According to a spokesman for New Frontier Materials, the roughly 100-foot wide hole that's estimated to be over 30 feet deep was caused due to subsidence of their underground limestone mine.
You know, they were able to get all of their workers out from underground in the mines, which is the most important thing. You know, everybody, it sounds like they're safe.
5:50 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show, and as you hear in the background, of course, we are still broadcasting live from Johnny's Hideout out in High Ridge. This is where we're going to have our big debate party tonight, starting at 7 o'clock. So as you can hear, the crowd is coming in. It's going to be very, very crowded tonight. Come on out. We'd love to meet everyone, right, Tim?
Hey, Chris, would you mention we have one of our super fans over here?
Oh, of course, Scotty Downey from our stream, been with us ever since the beginning of the show. Scotty, thanks for coming out. We thank you for your support, my friend, as always. At the chair with us, we have Kurt Hilsinger. And Kurt, what are you running for?
I am running for Legislative District 80, which is Peter Meredith's old district. I admit I have an uphill battle, but I actually just came off a debate with at the East Tower Grove Township. They had a forum for candidates, and I was one of 2 Republicans that showed up and debated head-to-head with 2 different Democrats running for those districts.
What do you say to people who say that St. Louis City is overwhelmingly Democratic, Republicans should write it off, we shouldn't make any efforts at all trying to make any inroads?
I say that Democrats are doing good with that message to keep people home, which I'm telling you, go out and vote because you're not alone. There's a lot of frustration going on with that. And when I was talking about crime. I was talking about police numbers. I was talking about school, how much we spend per student, and what are we getting for that amount of money. My opponents were talking about killing babies and chopping off body parts.
And Kirk, you're also here representing the Freedom Principle of Missouri. You guys are also sponsors. We got you guys. We got Agers Heating and Cooling. We've got the St. Louis Young Republicans. Tell folks a little bit about Freedom Principle, what you guys do.
We are a grassroots organization. We spend a lot of time in Jefferson City trying to push Republicans to vote for our priorities, which I have a copy of this year's priorities at the desk. In addition, we just came out with our endorsements Tuesday. And we are also have our legislative scorecard coming out.
Okay.
So be prepared. It's coming out very soon.
Now, how would you describe Freedom Principle of Missouri?
We are on the more grassroots, the more right side. The 8 Senate Republicans that consistently vote for the Democrats are basically not our fans.
In addition to Kirk and so many, we also got to give a shout out. Dwayne Eoff is here from Sugar Creek, and they are huge supporters. We're wearing the shirts tonight. We're showing the colors. I want to thank Dwayne and all of our sponsors here tonight. Thank you guys so much for showing it. As you can tell, the party has already started. And the guy who kicked the party off, living legend. That doesn't mean he's old. It just means he's it just means he's still alive.
Exactly.
That would be Larry Connors. Larry Connors USA begins at 6:05.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Larry Connors, give it up.
Thank you.
All right,
yeah, you were right. I was leaning against the bar when I got here.
Yeah, Larry, we're gonna let you promo your own show tonight.
All
Wait a minute, before
This is great.
Before we get to that,
Yeah,
I want to ask.
what?
I want, because we got a few more minutes left. I want to ask you, what are you expecting in tonight's debate? Give us your thoughts.
I expect some eye gouging and hits below the belt, and that's just when they're going after Trump.
Right.
Here or on the debate?
Yeah, both. We'll do it here as well.
Larry, can anything happen so that CNN doesn't automatically declare that Joe Biden was the winner tonight?
You know what? The interesting thing is that they allowed the other networks to simulcast.
That's true.
So I looked up here a moment ago, and I'm looking at Fox, but it has CNN logo up because apparently they say you got to promote us as well.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have everybody watching them like they thought they were. So it's not going to help their number. But we'll be watching, and we're going to pick out the stuff that they're throwing at them one way or the other.
All right, seasoned broadcaster Larry Connors, serious journalist.
All right.
What would be your first question for the candidates tonight?
My first question, Joe Biden, with all the children that have been brought in this country illegally, and we got 400,000 or so. We don't even know where they are. How do you sleep at night thinking about those children? And Donald Trump, which pen are you using to cancel all the executive orders Biden put in?
There you go. There you go. I love it. All right. Of course, your show comes on after ours, 6 to 8.
And I'm
of
honored.
course.
I'm honored to follow you guys.
We're honored to have you on the station and to say we work with a living legend. What are you talking about today?
Well, Hillary Clinton still trying to be relevant. She's got some advice for Biden as to what he should be doing. And Vivek Ramaswamy has some advice for Trump. And then I also have a story today that you remember LeBron James starting the I Promise School in Ohio, helping kids.
Oh, yeah.
A review of that over the last few years, not one child has graduated with 8th grade math ability. That's not a good sign. You know, and education is so important for our kids, as you were speaking about a moment ago.
Larry, speaking of Hillary Clinton, this was in my stack of stuff. She has written another book that she's going to start promoting.
Can't wait to burn it.
How many books can these people write? And the Obamas are the same way. How many more books can they write where they've covered everything?
The dollars. They'll write it forever.
But no one's buying these books.
And you know, I'm sure you're aware. I think I heard you guys talk about it, or at least I know I've got it on tonight as well. Michelle Obama, you know why she hasn't been going around helping out? Because she has a good friend who is Hunter Biden's ex-wife, and she doesn't like the way they've been treating her. So she says, I'm out of here. I will do nothing to support it.
Larry, that's so tabloid.
Yeah, I know.
Tim,
final thoughts?
We love it.
Kirk, we got about 30 seconds left. Folks need to not give up on the city of St. Louis, right?
No, absolutely not. I am seeing a trend further and further right. I'm hoping to beat my record of votes for 2022. And I do have to say one thing. With all these red shirts, a guy like me wearing a red shirt, somebody surely yells, "Hey, Kool-Aid." And I wake up on the other side of a brick wall with a concussion.
Dynamite. Very good. Very good.
Larry Connors, USA, is up next. And we are here at Johnny's Hideout. Come on out for the big debate party that starts at 7. We're going to have a rocking good time. You've been listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Drive safe and have a great evening.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.